the case, if the normal casual fan is into wrestling because of that, take the wrestling completely out of it as you're comparing it to, from fake to real whenever you're comparing it with UFC. If that's what they're really interested in, why can't they still enjoy that if the promos and if the creativity and if the storylines are up to par with what they were 10 years ago?
Well, I still don't understand exactly what you're saying.
No, the bottom line is that today's product is so bad, nobody wants to watch it.
Right.
That's why nobody's watching wrestling. Work in and of itself doesn't matter, never did. If Ric Flair couldn't talk, he would have been a mid-card level, Intercontinental Champion style performer at best. It's the whole product, the way the promos and the matches, and the work, the storylines, the announcing too, the way it all ties together. That's what gets people to watch. And not only are the separate pieces in disarray in both quote-unquote major wrestling companies right now, but they don't fit together well either. There's just nothing to like about the wrestling product now, and I mean absolutely nothing. I do find it ironic, though, and I don't think the Internet audience knows what it's talking about either, for the record, but I find it ironic that Disco talks about how the Internet people don't know what they're talking about, but yet his sage, his magus, his mentor, if you will, Vince Russo, does nothing but pay attention to the Internet audience. I witnessed that in WCW, where literally stuff would get changed based on Internet reaction.
But that's not just Russo. I mean, that's almost everybody.
You're right. You got to be Mark. You've a very selective memory. Bischoff was the one that originally started doing that, and let's not forget the Kevin Sullivan Pillman angle, which was the first one ever that really just went towards the Internet audience. That was long before Russo.
You're absolutely right. All those guys reacted to the Internet, but Russo did and probably still does too.
That's interesting. You see that because the guy doesn't.
Don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt. Don't interrupt the star. You know better. The bottom line is that a booker should not pay attention to the Internet at all because it is such a small, specialized fraction of the audience you really need.
All right, but let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you both of them. Hold on, let me ask you both of this, because I think that there's...
Time out, because Marcus is basically talking from a very ignorant point of view. Number one, since I know the guy way better than Mark does, I'll tell you for a fact that Russo very rarely, if ever, even looks at the Internet websites. The Internet mark in that company is Dixie. Okay, she's the one that looks on the Internet, reads the Internet and goes to the bookers and tells them what they need to change based on Internet reaction. It's not Russo. Okay, so you're making a statement based on ignorance. Okay,
never Vince's fault. Please, ignorance, please.
No, I never said never. I said, bro, you try to make it sound like
when I see it. I've been around the business long enough to know a crap booker when I see one.
Okay, well, who's a crap booker?
Vince Russo.
Well, honestly,
they're all crap bookers.
Think about it, Mark. If you look at his track record, okay, and you make the statement he's a crap booker, what evidence and numbers do you have to support your claim?
I know what I see. I know what I like.
What evidence and numbers do you have to support your claim other than your own personal opinion?
I think my personal opinion actually is considerably important.
Okay, but other evidence... What other evidence is provided?
Well, numbers like that he's a good booker.
Well, the numbers don't lie. He's been probably in the past 15 years of business the most successful booker we've had.
What numbers now? What numbers?
Ratings. The ratings.
What's the ratings now?
That's all that matters.
The ratings now?
That's all that matters. All that matters is about television product isn't whether or not Ebert gives it a good review. It matters on the numbers that it does.
Bro, the bottom line is you're a Russo mark and it clouds your otherwise good judgment.
So, Nick, how's your day, man?
Let me ask you this, Mark. You've always thought, okay, who, in your opinion, is a good booker?
I don't think there's been any good booking done since the mid to late 90s.
And who was a good booker back then?
I thought Paul Heyman was a brilliant booker in the mid-90s.
Okay, well, numbers, honestly, let's look at the numbers.
In the mid-90s was the best booking that I've ever seen.
Well, that's the best booking that you've ever seen, which means you're a part of an audience that doesn't understand what draws. Because he booked a company that went out of business. So I just don't know where you're getting your evidence, your facts from. The bottom line. If you would rather have a booker for a company that puts you out of business because you like it, or would you rather have a booker for a company that gets numbers? One or the other. I mean, and you had 166 IQ. It's not a difficult question.
Well, it's not a difficult thing then to realize either that if TNA was won by a common business practice, namely, if you don't make money, you fold, it would have folded a long time ago. It's a money drain, but Dixie Carter's a stupid mark who doesn't know when to quit. And it was the same with WCW for years. WCW lost and lost and lost and lost, but it was a loss leader for TV, so they kept it going. But the bottom line is the plug should have been pulled on TNA a long, long time ago. I'm speaking from a purely creative standpoint. Just because ECW didn't have the wherewithal in terms of network exposure or money to promote to make it in the long run doesn't mean the stuff Paul Heyman booked wasn't creative.
Let's do this.
I never said that, but the bottom line is you're basing all of your stuff on your own personal opinion. At some point, bookers have to be judged by their results. The results are in the numbers. Okay, period. If you want to grade bookers or grade people or judge people, you have to go by a guideline. The guideline of Mark Madden's personal opinion is not a good guideline.
But Glenn, I don't hear you citing any numbers that back your statement.
What are you talking about, bro? His number. First of all, what he did in the WWF is the greatest thing that's ever been done in wrestling.
That
alone should make him one of the best bookers of all time. But now,
long time ago, and I hope
wasn't that long ago. It was when Paul Heyman was booking ECW, Mark. All right. So if you want to say that Paul Heyman booking ECW is the greatest thing ever, I apologize, but I think that what Vince Russo was doing at the same time in the WWF was 10 times better than what Paul Heyman was doing.
Well, that's your opinion. And if you think that Vince Russo was the sole creative guiding light behind what happened in WWF in the late 90s, I think you're very mistaken.
All right, guys, here's what we're gonna do. Hold on, real quick.
He would have carried over to his other jobs, but he didn't bring the people who helped him to his other jobs, and as such, failed. There's no way you can say Vince Russo hasn't failed since WWE. There's no way you can say that.
Well, how was he failed? First of all, his second stint here in TNA, he took over and they were doing a .8, now they're doing 1.1 to 1.2s. To me, by my calculations, that's a 30% increase, which is better than the WWE he's been since he's been gone.
I think
so
Vince...
they've just declined. So I don't understand.
Such convoluted logic, I'm not even sure what to say. It's tough to argue nonsense. Glenn, you're totally right. I apologize.
How is that nonsense?
First of all, I want to put 1.1. I want to put it to, and all he can do is a 1.1.
I want to put it to an audience right now. These guys. Who do you think is winning this argument so far and providing better logic? That's for you, Chris, and you, Nick, the man of 1,000 names.
I don't even know what you said.
I said, who's winning this argument so far?
I don't know. We could take a poll.
Well, go ahead, because I'm killing him.
Well,
you're always killing him, aren't you?
I know who the fans want to hear. I know who's carried this show. I know my role, and perhaps you should shut your mouth.
Let's do this. We're going to do...
Isn't this the first show?
Yeah, this is the first show.
Why are you guys calling me on this first show? I mean, why don't you just be honest and say because you didn't think Mark can handle it by himself. You wanted me on here to cover him in case he made a jackass out of himself. So I mean, just be honest.
How's the duck doing?
What?
I was kicked off the fucking show 10 minutes ago, so I didn't even hear any of this stuff.
Oh, it's great. You should have. Well, you know what? Go back and listen.
Let's not swear. Keep it clean. Foul mouth is the byproduct of an uncreative mind.
You can go listen to the you can go listen to the archive. Let's do this. We've got a few minutes left, and we've got you both on. The phone lines have been lining up. So what we could do is take a few phone calls at least, and allow some people to chime in. And
Marty Tuhati on the line.
Who?
Marty Tuhati. Is he on the line?
I don't even know.
James from Kentucky called. Remember him?
Yes, I do remember him.
540.
Jeff Jarrett still joke about that guy.
540-551-4869. Let's take this phone call. Caller, you're live on the Voice of Wrestling.
Yeah. Could you please never, ever, ever let Mark Madden on the show again? Thank you.
Good idea. Good idea, guys.
Let's take this phone call. Caller, you're live on the Voice of Wrestling.
Yeah. First, I wanted to say that I really like your guys' show. I listen to it every week.
Thanks.
Mark Madden is a good addition to the show, too. And by the way, I feel like he won the argument earlier that lasted for 50 years. But I just wanted to ask, since it seems like the main discussion is UFC, WWE, UFC's taking over, I just was wondering what everybody, who's on the air right now would do differently to the WWE so they could potentially get better numbers in the future and possibly, go up against UFC or, just get more popular? What would y'all change with the WWE right now? That's really
it's not a matter of competing with UFC. It's a matter of maximizing your own product's potential, audience, and profitability. If you can use a competition to make yourself better, as happened with WCW and WWE during the Monday Night Wars, so be it. But it's about maximizing your own product. I just think they need to fire Brian Gewirtz, go back to more old-fashioned wrestling booking, not in terms of making it like Mid-South Wrestling in the 80s, although, boy, that drew a heck of a number and was a very entertaining product. I'm talking about in terms of making it a wrestling show.